So I think we'll go ahead and start here. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what your organization is?
My name is Stephanie Brown Bryant. I am the assistant principal at Indian Creek Elementary, and I'm also researching STEM in elementary school.
I think my mic is on. Can you hear me? I have a naturally loud voice since I'm a teacher, so just let me know I talk too loud. I'm trying to keep you awake before lunch. Hello, thank you for being here, and my name is Anasan Silvong-Sai, and I'm an educator. This is my 23rd year teaching high school. I'm also an advocate for the Ladies American National Alliance. So I am here as an advocate and as an educator. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jordan Rose. I am the co-director and co-founder of the Atlanta Science Festival, and I'm happy to be here today.
Good morning, or afternoon, kind of borderline there. I'm Michelle Avalone, and I'm representing General Motors, a proud sponsor of this workshop, and also the program that we have awardees for. I work at General Motors for now 30 years. So I started as a student co-opting and been with them for all these years doing engineering for products, different products in the portfolio that we design and sell. And I'm glad to be here and thank you for coming.
Hello, thank you for having me here today. My name is Yanni Pan, and I'm a rising senior at Atlanta International School.
I'm Amy Tran, and I'm a rising ninth grader at Booster Academy.
And Amy, I'd like to thank you especially for coming to Atlanta and traveling from Alabama to join us today. Thank you so much for showing your dedication to this important field of STEM. So I'd first like to start and ask Stephanie, what attracted you into the STEM field and into education?
I am from South Georgia and intrinsically just have this love to take things apart. And growing up in farming and agriculture, we wanted to find how things work. And as a girl, you know, we were told to cook and to play with dolls. Instead, I wanted to take the electronics apart. So for many, many years, I loved math and I really loved science. And my first teaching job was a science teacher. So I told a story about how I was the one, before Google, that would go to the library and find the most exciting science projects that I would probably get in trouble for from my principal. But I was that lady, and then I began to teach engineering and technology for 5 years. What I learned was we had no pipeline to lead students, especially girls, into STEM careers in elementary school. There was very little exposure and very little, I think for our girls, they have to have hands-on, for all of our children, hands-on real life explorations. So I had the opportunity to start our first Lego club. We went to World Lego League, won many competitions, and I saw the excitement grow. And I couldn't, it was so infectious. Children, I had to kind of tell children, I had to start saying no because of funding. So because of that, I really took to heart that we have to make sure, like these fine ladies here with us, we have to do better at providing you with experiences, even field trips, because the STEM career changes every day. There are new careers that we've never heard of that are being created. So it's my job as a school administrator now to make sure that we provide competitive, research-based, exciting things for our kids to do in STEM education.
Do you want to go ahead and answer the same question of what attracted you into the STEM field?
Okay, sure. So in 2001, I went to my first robotics competition in Texas. So I met the founder of FIRST, Dean Kamen. He's like amazing. He has over 429 patents. He's an engineer and inventor, and also he's a businessman. And so his passion basically is to get the science field and technology, engineering, and get kids excited about it. So when I met him, I was like starstruck. It's like, oh wow, I read so much about him. And so I remember him saying something like, there's so many teenagers who want to be like MBAs or maybe like actors or actresses. And some of them, they don't have the talent for that. However, being an engineer or a scientist, that's a reality. And that stuck with me. For as an educator, but I want to, give access and opportunities to my students. From Southeast Asian students to everybody, who wants to be interested in that field. And unlike you, I am not good in math. I am not good in science. I can barely turn on my car. So I was like, okay, how am I going to represent STEM or get kids excited about STEM if I'm not expert? And I come to realize that in my 23 years teaching, you don't have to be an expert in the field. You have to have passion. And then, like she said, you have to give kids the, access and opportunities and open up that world for them and show them, just like me, you don't have to be an engineer or an expert, but I do know other people who are experts, and let me introduce you. And I think that's extremely important for us in the community to do that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like Stephanie, I also like to take things apart as a child. In fact, I like to smash all of my toys against trees or concrete and find out what was inside and how they worked. And I think that interest grew into my interest in how the human body works. So all through high school and college, I was interested in medicine. And I was pursuing a career in medicine because I was fascinated by the inner workings of the human body, the plumbing, the engineering that goes into how our body works. I took a year off after college before I went to medical school, which I ended up not going to medical school. And during that year off, I worked in a National Science Foundation funded research center, but I was not doing research. I was doing education and outreach. I was bringing buckets of brains into classrooms and getting children and teachers excited about science. And I was running summer camps and teacher workshops and really helping to bridge this gap that exists between high school and post-secondary education. And helping teachers to understand some of the scientific research that was happening at our universities and to help them bring back some of that research thinking into their classrooms. And on other projects, we were helping future professors, future college professors learn how to teach. Because when graduate students in the sciences get their PhDs and go on to become professors, nobody tells them how to teach. So they're often up on stage clicking through slides and reading the slides to you, and they're very boring. Who's had a very boring class in science? Yeah, lots of us. And that may be one of the reasons why young people aren't inspired to pursue STEM as a career, because we aren't doing enough to help our current STEM professionals know how to inspire, know how to engage different audiences. So that's some of the projects that we were working on during that year off that I took before I pursued a career in medicine. I fell in love with serving as this liaison between high school teachers and students and college. And I found that I was good at it. I was good at helping teachers inspire their students. And I was good at helping college students and graduate students and faculty learn how to explain their problem solving and their research to the public. So my career sort of took a left turn, left turn. And that's how I got into this science education and community engagement career.
And so I did put up this slide of the Atlanta Science Festival. Jordan and I had the opportunity to work together as co-founders of the Atlanta Science Festival. So George, can you tell us a little bit about the Science Festival and exactly what it does?
Sure. The festival is just finished its 5th year. It's an annual public celebration of science, technology, engineering, and math, highlighting some of the local opportunities that are here for educational advancement, for careers in STEM fields, because Atlanta is this nexus of science and technology and engineering, and many of us who are outside of those fields don't know that. They hear Atlanta and they think about traffic or the humidity, the movie industry, music industry, but people don't think about STEM when they hear Atlanta. And so, but there's so many resources and so many opportunities here for STEM learning. So the festival was founded to help promote those opportunities and to help families and young people get connected to opportunities for informal science learning. Because throughout our lives, about 95% of our time learning is spent outside of the classroom. And yet all of our science education happens inside the classroom. Well, not true. There are so many opportunities for STEM education outside of the classroom. And so while we do need to support our teachers and our educators in our classrooms, we also need to help families to connect to opportunities beyond the classroom, because it is all of our responsibilities to help inspire and provide opportunities for our young people to get careers in science and to, or just to be scientifically literate. You know, not everyone is going to be a scientist, not everyone is going to be a physician, but we want everyone to be scientifically literate, to have the scientific thinking embedded and ingrained in their daily lives, so that they can make personal decisions using evidence. They can make decisions for their family on what to buy or what kind of health care to pursue, and also that they vote with this understanding and appreciation for science and technology. So I sort of got off track. The Science Festival, it's a 2-week festival. It happens every March. 100 different public science events that happen all over Metro Atlanta. It was founded by Emory University, Georgia Tech, and the Metro Atlanta Chamber. And we have incredible corporate sponsorship and partnership with Delta Airlines is our presenting sponsor. UPS is a big sponsor and plays a big role. And now, the festival in its 5th year, we are launching some more year-round activities called Science ATL. We have an online calendar of public science events. It's live now at scienceatl.org, so you can go and find events in your neighborhood that relate to different scientific topics that you might be interested in: health, physics, engineering, robotics. So you can filter the calendar and find some events that you can go to with your families. And there's also a middle school and high school leadership development program that we're starting this year called Chief Science Officers. And there's more coming from Science ATL.
Wonderful. Michelle, can you tell me, what does it take to have a career in STEM?
Okay. Well, I was going to say these folks hit it well as far as having, aspirations and motivation to think outside the box. I came to the USA by the fall of Saigon, the war in 75 when I was only 7. So I was more focused on, survival, right? Was my primary focus growing up. And all I knew was I had to go to college in order to do something more than just working the daily grind. And I went into the STEM field by accident, I want to say, because I wasn't exploring or knew how to explore like you folks have with all the groups and companies, innovative and initiative now to reach out to kids like myself who was just aimlessly attending school. Don't know why, but had to do it. And it was that one profound moment when my cousin's cousin graduated from high school and wanted to go to GMI Kettering University in Flint, Michigan. And that was the first time I heard of the school, even though I lived there, like 2 miles away. How sheltered I was just to you know, I mean, like I said, survival, just go to school, go home, help out with the chores, and the parents assimilating to American culture, right? And so as I researched on my own and accidentally realized engineering was what I was born to do. And so I applied for the school and got in, and that took off, and I pretty much stayed with General Motors, and it opened up a whole world of things that I never imagined. Like I had the opportunity to go to Germany, work there for a year and a half, and that's when I realized what my mother went through coming here, having to learn a new culture, new language, everything. So when I came back to the U.S., I realized, you know, I wanted to learn more about Vietnamese and the culture and inspire the kids and keep their heritage. The USA is so vast and diverse, and we tend to lose sight of culture because of the fast track that we deal with. And so GM is really promoting diversity, and they have 12 diverse employee resources group to help people like myself learn more about our culture. In addition, doing that, it expands us to open to other cultures like yourself, and allow us to think outside the box of adapting to science, and it helps us think better as an engineer or designer, to not be siloed into one way, right? And taking academics a whole new way. Like our CEO is advocating zero emission, zero congestion, zero safety compliance concerns, and autonomous driving, right? I mean, just something unthinkable 10 years ago. So we're making progress everywhere, and thank you for all leaders around trying to help us get there as well.
And I think that's a perfect segue, because GM just recently sponsored a lift competition for students, and Yanni is one of our GM lift honorees. So Yanni, my question for you is, what do you like about STEM subjects?
What I like about the STEM subject mostly is that it's really interdisciplinary. And the fact that you can combine 2, 3, 4 types of sciences and maths and engineering together allows all these science and leaders to cooperate and find more discoveries and find new technologies that they never thought of. Imagine if you just had a whole field of physicians. Like, without biology, how would you relate them to real life applications? It's just the STEM has created this environment for all of us to collaborate together, and I think that's very important.
Great, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get your slide up here on the screen. Can you tell us about Girls in STEM?
Yeah, so I founded this organization called Astucia last year, and the mission of Astucia is to promote females in STEAM, and also targeting towards all different types of people of color. And we just had our first competition this year, and we had 3 winners. We raised funds over $2,000, and we're trying to raise a little more next year. But I think that just having these types of competitions, along with GM Lift's competition, is just very important to encouraging young students to participate in the STEAM and STEM fields, because I think that the first thing to do in order to raise awareness of STEM nowadays is to help the younger students, because the passion doesn't come when you're 30 years old, it comes when you're younger, and that is something that's really important to find their passions through these types of initiatives and competitions. And yeah, if you would like to see the website is astucia.us, and hopefully we can get more participation next year.
Wonderful. Amy, what do you like about the STEM subjects?
Well, my first got done is by discovery, and I don't think there would be as many that with technology without it.
Great, and I'd like to direct this to Stephanie. Why do you believe that women generally are not considering a career in STEM-related jobs?
Exposure. We have to be forward thinkers and take risks. And unfortunately, a lot of our young ladies are not encouraged to take risks. What I love about the preparation for the future is we have so many opportunities for all of our students, especially our girls, to compete. We have to learn to be assertive. There's a way, when you consider even how much women are paid, it's because we don't challenge our pay scale. Because most males are often paid more because we don't ask for more. So now our young ladies they have a platform to not only get the education, but to compete beyond measure. They have opportunities that we have not had before. And they have more role models. There are women who have done it before. And so as the women in STEM, as that expands, you give more girls hope because they can see that it can be done. And that's where you start. You just start dropping those little pebbles of hope. And they pick them up and they run with them.
You can go ahead and hang on to that. I can use this one at the podium. Panelist, I think that you put together a presentation in preparation for today. Would you mind walking us through it?
Yes, sure. Okay, so some of the pictures you will see is actually like my first robotics students. So once again, First Robotics is, founded by Dean Kamen. And I'm really excited about what you're doing with the girls. And that's what my main thing was, encouraging girls to, get involved in, STEM, academy. So First Robotics is an amazing opportunity. So this is just like my ideas on how we can encourage, young girls, in the community, everybody who's interested, not just young girls, but young men. So First Robotics, I got involved in 2001. So I said, if we want to encourage young people, give them access and opportunities, look at well-established organizations like First Robotics. They have been around since 1989. So, they know how to reach out to the community, to the students, and how to encourage participation. So, and that's me right there when I was thinner. So another strategies we could use is basically reach out to teachers. If we want to influence or inspire young ladies to be in STEM, you have to look around. Yanni, if somebody says, oh wow, look at Yanni, she's an engineer or she's a student, or look at another professional, that's inspiration right there. So like I said, I'm not an engineer or a scientist, but I love those subjects. And so I think it's important that we reach out to the teachers in the community as administrators and go, hey, you want to be sponsors for First Robotics, First Lego League, you want to do like a science fair, so just reach out, to ask them to be mentors. Go ahead, Steve. And I said an important thing is, teachers, even though there's a lot of us, we do get, busy, with, being professionals in the classroom. So what I do is, okay, let's look at the community. What Laotian organization do I have, or what other Asian, for example, WAC, what other organization can I tap into to reach out and find the specialists, to find the, the motivating factor. So, LAS, I've known them, forever, it seems, Amy and Noi, they've been very supportive of our organization. So if I were to, if I want to reach out to the Lao community, I would say, okay, Amy, Noi, who should I talk to? Okay, where do I need to be? So look around you for community organizations to reach our students, not just inside the school. Mm-hmm. And then here are my girls. If you see the second girl from the left, that's my daughter. So this is our first robotics competition. It's kind of funny because we roll up into Phoenix to an affluent community in a blue bus. They thought about immigration or something, getting dropped off for work or something. And my kids, all my students and my girls, like Miss Silly, I noticed that everybody's driving like, Bentley or Rolls Royce, and we're coming in here in a blue bus. I go, baby, it's okay. It's all about like what resources you have. Like those students who are competing against had tons of money, tons of sponsorship. So we didn't have as much as they did, but I told my kids, take the knowledge you have, take the resources, because I call it the money bag lady, because I find funding for the kids. And so as you can see right here, like when we first went to a competition, it was a first year competing against 49 other teams. So it was amazing because when we first, got onto like the playing field, we were number 2 out of 50. I mean, we did drop later on, but we were excited. So I was like, messaging my principal, we were number 2. She's like, what? Like, for real? Well, yes, I know it's hard to believe, But as you can see, that the girls are excited, and I encourage the girls who, I told them, you're not here to just be cheerleaders. You're not here to clean up after the boys. You can program. You are here to fix those machines that we created. You are here to show that girls can do as much as, boys can. So as you can see, it's my team, and then first robotics team. And, all right, so and then another strategy I was thinking about is encourage parental involvement. There's so many parents, parents, you're amazing. You love your kids, so obviously you are willing to drive, 100 miles or do whatever it takes to help your child be successful. Iris, she's the one that's in the middle. She just graduated from Livonia High School, and she actually went to her first world competition. And for her being Asian, Laotian, minority, a woman, whatever you have, and she's also a driver. She did not go there to walk around with good. She went there to drive the robot. So once again, her parents are extremely supportive of her. So I think that's important for us, to get the community involved, is get parents involved. And another thing, that's Iris right there. So you can see her at the first robotics championship. So identify student leaders, just like you young ladies over here. You guys are amazing. You're ahead of the game already. So we have to look in the community and go, okay, who are those passionate young people, and how can we help them, start the program? What funding do they need to be successful? What mentors do they need to go to the next level?
Wonderful. I'd like to ask Amy, since she has a perspective of living in Georgia and being in school in Alabama now, like what programs have you seen being targeted to Southeast Asians and to female students?
Well, June left and the older organization that I do with has been the only program that I've seen cater to Southeastern Asians, but I do hope to see more
I think it's all.
I want to say that again. I think that our audience didn't hear you because your mic wasn't on.
Yeah, she's just soft.
GM Lift has been the only competition that I've seen catered to Southeastern Asians, but I do hope to see more in the future.
Wonderful. And Michelle, what do you think companies can do to increase the awareness and encourage others to go into STEM?
Yes, so GM has a vast spread. So we are utilizing the employees to help reach out to the local communities because, it's so big, right? And we're taking advantage of that spread. And so, like I said, mentioned earlier, we have 12 ERG groups, and mostly is in Southeast Michigan, that's where I'm from. But we're starting with satellite chapters. So there's Georgia, there's a chapter that tries to reach out to the communities. And then, so that's one aspect. And then the other aspect is we do collaborate with organizations like Who's Who, WAC, Girl Scouts of America, USA, robotics. They're big sponsors of different robotic teams, so, you know, reach out to us and we have employees being mentors that comes back, and so SAE, different organizations that are geared towards science and engineering. So there's a lot of, in fact, you know, we were overburdened with too much that there's actually duplicates. So we're trying to be more efficient in making it more deliberate. It's a bigger attention grabber, right? Because you have little niches here and there and you kind of get lost. So we are getting better at trying to be more pronounced, like there's a program that stands out and make it more memorable for community members who are trying to establish themselves. Where do they go, right? How do they get started? So we're trying to get a little better efficiency in helping out and with the different schools as well. That's how in way.
Great, and this question is for Jordan. 50 through 60% of the Asian American Pacific Islander communities never consider pursuing a post-secondary education. How has this hurt the disparity and gap of this community and in STEM?
Yeah, so the world has a lot of problems, to say the least. And in order for us to really effectively tackle the challenges that we are facing today and tomorrow, we need diverse minds solving those problems. We need rooms full of different people, different backgrounds, different ways of thinking, different approaches to problem solving. Otherwise, we're going to keep facing the same challenges and throwing the same attempts at solving them and failing again and again. So the problem is one of no diversity in the room. And our challenge, all of us, is to help get diverse people into that room to solve those problems. Different ages, different races, different ethnicities, different cultural backgrounds. And what we need to do is to help young people see themselves in those roles, addressing those challenges. And a great way to do that is through mentorship and role models. So our current STEM professionals at our companies, we need them out in the schools, we need them out in the communities, proudly saying who they are and what they do, so that young people who look like them can say, I could do that, I could be that person in 10 years, in 20 years. So role models are extremely important, and that, you know, that places a huge burden on people who come from underrepresented groups in the sciences. You know, not only do they have to worry about their own career, but now there's this burden on their shoulders of trying to bring more people from their backgrounds into the careers. You know, that can be extremely challenging. But it's vital. It's so essential that we get diverse STEM employees and students out in the community so that young people can see that those career paths are possible for them.
Great, and before I take some questions from the audience, I'd like to ask Yanni, using your STEM knowledge and interests, what career are you considering?
As I've been working a lot for the Google Science Fair and GMList competition, I have really developed a passion for environmental science. And I think that even though STEM, there are so many aspects that are interesting, I think that environmental science is the foundation and the base for all types of STEM. In order to continue discovering new technologies, we need to be sustainable. And in order to be sustainable, we have to think about all these environmental considerations. And I think that's very important.
Great. Well, I'd like to take some questions from the audience because I'm sure that this conversation has sparked some interest and perhaps some questions in your mind. So if you don't mind using the microphone at your desk and pushing the button, when the light turns green, you can go ahead and ask a question. So does anyone have any questions? Over in the back?
Hello? Okay. Good. So, I'm very interested about the inclusion the topic that you talked about. And I know that most people that go to science because they're interested, because their parents are aware. But what are you guys doing to tackle those people that still do not see science as an option? They don't even know that they can be part of this conversation. I've experienced that. I never had a role model. So I make sure wherever I live, I go to the school and say, hey, people like me can do this. So I'm new to Atlanta, so I'm asking you guys, what are you guys doing to do the same? You know, it's easy to go to school, people are eager. But what about going to a school that people don't even know that this is an option?
Would any one of our panelists like to answer that?
As I'm in an elementary school, I've been in schools in the Atlanta area for about 22 years. What I can say in our district, and what I know for sure in most schools, there's usually a science geek in every school who loves to compete. We have several science teachers, and our district offers, what I would do is start with district initiatives. There was tons of funding, federal funding for STEM when President Obama was in office. Provided STEM programs, even charter schools that were geared towards STEM and technology. So what I hear your question may be, how do I know what exists? You start with simply looking for district initiatives, then going and visiting the school. As soon as you walk in our school, we have a fish tank. It's an aquaponics tank to start the conversation. Look for scientific things around those educational places. Do they have a garden? Do they compete? Is First Lego League a part of activities? Do they have a science fair? Those types of things. And then find your counselors and ask, what are you guys doing, counselors and administrators? What are you guys doing to help our kids in science? It's really slow going, and some schools are a bit more advanced than others, but it really only takes a few events to encourage a full school or even a district to increase their science influx.
One thing that we're doing at the Science Festival is we have a program called Imagining the Future, where we bring STEM professionals into the classroom to talk about their career paths and journeys, challenges that they faced and overcome, and what they do and why they love what they do. So that's one way to introduce those variety of STEM careers to students who are sitting in school, from no choice of their own. So it's a captive audience. Another thing that we do is we provide bus vouchers to Title I schools so that they can attend our expo, which is the last event of the festival. Our biggest event was at Piedmont Park this last year, where we have hundreds of exhibitors, corporate and university exhibitors doing hands-on science, so that they can meet and interact with STEM professionals who hopefully may look like them too. It's exposure. We have to find new ways of reaching audiences, non-traditional audiences who don't choose to go to a science event or a science program, but maybe who are going to a theater performance, a dance performance. So the Science Festival tries to have events that reach different interest groups. We have scavenger hunts and flash mobs and dance, math, mashups, so that your non-typical science student will come for these other reasons. Maybe they love dance and they want to see this performance, and then they see how it's connected to science, and they say, okay, I can connect my two interests, my dance and my science interests, and have a career in exercise kinesiology or something like this.
And I really like that point about exposure, because conferences like today and this panel, it's about exposure, it's about education, and then not only educating yourself about looking for opportunities to see science around you, but also educating the people around you. So thank you so much for making those points. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, I think there's a woman here in the middle and then someone in the back.
Good morning. Good afternoon now. My name is Marcy Thomas with BB&T Bank. We're here in support of WAC and to show our commitment to the diversity and inclusion, not just in the bank, but in the community. So we have BRG teams, which many people are probably very familiar with. We have an Asian Pacific Islander group, women's group, African American, Hispanic, LGBT, veterans, and a disabilities group. So I've heard a lot of things this morning that tie all of these different affinities. Basically, we seek to gain a better perspective of the needs in our communities. So being here is very rich for us. I want to thank you for making my week, because yesterday I had the pleasure of being at Georgia State, and a nonprofit here, the Georgia Center for the Deaf and Hearing Impaired, sponsored a STEM camp at Georgia State this week in partnership with them. And we had translators on hand as well. And so you have another underserved community with such brilliant talent and passion for all the coursework they've learned in this STEM space. Solar energy, solar panels to charge their cell phones, 3D digital mapping, all these things that are just so creative and new for someone like me to open my eyes and say, I don't know much about this, but how do we bring this back home? So for us to be here today to go back to our other BRG groups and partners, because within our organization of 39,000 employees, we have parents, we have people in various business lines that have students emerging into these different fields. And with the announcement that Facebook's going to have a data center in Huntsville, and we're being awarded one here in Georgia as well. I mean, this is just a key partnership that we can have. So although we're not in that space with you, we appreciate the invitation to be here and to hear and learn from you. So thank you.
Okay, there was a question in the back.
Yeah, my question is to ask is that how can students reach out to corporations for support, like for projects or competitions such as Atusha that you have found? I mean, they need funding, they need support from corporations. But how should we reach out to those corporations?
And I'd like to tell.
So how did you find out about the GM Lift program, right?
I think it just has to do with the development of connections, and especially young students. We lack the skill to connect, and I try to reach out just because of my own nature. I just like to reach out to other people, and I think that for all the other students at the school, I would like to help them understand the importance of connecting and reaching out to all these different types of people and corporations. But I do think that there is a lack of connection when it comes to like corporations, and I would also like to know how to
Yeah, so quickly, logistically, right, it's not possible for all of us to call up Rivera, hey, can you get me hooked up to, so I think the most practical way is the education aspect. Reach out to your teacher who you see every day, start there, see what they know, then up the level to the counselors, because really that's their job, is to help teachers and students know about different organizations within the community, your church, your neighbors. I mean, just talk. I think out loud, right? Because you could be thinking a lot, but you can't leave your mind. And because I've had a neighbor who was just talking about something, and it resonated with a group that I knew about because I went to a conference about something else. It's networking, right? So I would start with, people you can touch first, and then I'm sure they will have connections, and all of a sudden you reach GM, not knowing any better.
Great, I could add to that. Thank
Yes.
you, Michelle. And also to add to that question, I know nonprofit organizations such as WAC, right, would have that program, and different corporations such as
UPS and Coca-Cola or Home Depot, all of these corporations support this STEM program. And I know through a nonprofit organization, the UPS Foundation also support the different nonprofit organizations out there with different programs to promote the STEM in different communities, especially in the minority communities. So that's something that you do, reach out to your local teachers, educators, and also the nonprofit organizations that you work with, and anything in terms of corporations such as ours. So it's really a great networking. This is where you get the information, you take the information back, and then you follow up on it.
And Ms. Rod, I think you also had something?
Yes, I just want to connect all the dots, what everybody is saying, so the first question was really good as well, and then the second question, so I know, for a robotics competition, it costs $5,000 just to get the kit. That's not counting travel and everything else. So they are correct in reaching out to teachers. So like Yanni, if you the person that you just ask them, say, okay, Miss Silly, we need to find $5,000. You know anybody? Then I'll be like, oh, wait a minute. Let me look around. Let me Google, okay, General Motors. And then I find the connector, okay, who at General Motors deals with Grant or who at UPS and so on. And then what I have my students do, because we want them to be leaders, is their organization, is their program. I go, now, what you're going to do is going to write a letter. Okay, even to DBT. Okay, I had kids who go approach Wells Fargo, for example. They need to go to competition. Okay, honey, write a letter, explain who we are, and also be very specific the amount of dollar that you need. You can't just say, I need $5,000, because I was thinking about having steak and asparagus at the hotel, whatever, right? I go, you have to list. Okay, I need $5,000 for the parts. I need $3,000 for us to go on the trip because for the pay for hotel and so on. So as a parent, you can ask the teachers, okay, my child is going to STEM and they're trying to build this robot or they're trying to, grow this plant and they need some soil or whatever it is, right? So you say, okay, now ask your teacher when you go to school and say, tell them what you're going to do and how do I reach out to those, corporations. So that's what I do. I have the kids write the letter and then I tell them, dress up nicely, go to BBT or Wells Fargo or UPS, and once you find out who it is you have to talk to. And then they give the letter, and then I had Wells Fargo donate $1,000, to my student, for the competition. So there's so many corporations, we are fortunate with General Motors and UPS here, that you just have to say it straight out. So you can say, I need money, can you please help me? And really, rarely do a corporation will turn you down, especially look how cute you guys are, right? You can't turn down kids who say, I need money for lunch, or I need money to build this robotic kit. They won't, as long as you have a game plan on. I know this is long, but just like the segue, Bill Mata, he taught me a very important thing, how to get funding. It was like the elevator speech. And he said, imagine you in the elevator and you on the 5th floor, and then you have bill from the 5th floor to the 1st floor, and you gotta get that funding. What did he say? He said, always be prepared to drop that, that speech. My name's Johnny, I'm with, Ascension, whatever, and then, we're going to competition, we will need your support. What do you think? And then, I practice that. I think that's why I speak so fast, because, I know I'm trapped in the elevator and they're going to get away from me when I say, go baby, right?
No one can say no to you.
No, right? Right, so if I see BBT, for example, I will approach you too. I'll be like, my students go to competition, can I please have $5,000? Don't worry, it's not for me. I can pay for my own lunch or go make my own food. But these kids, they need to eat. These kids, they need gas to go to their competition. And I love what you say about, giving access to students. You can't just tell a student to get on the bus when they have no means to get on the bus. I have so many kids who don't have the money. And then, I use my own bus ticket, like the public bus ticket. I go, where you need to go for your acting, where you go for this. I go, okay, how do you use this? So it's extremely important, like corporations as well, whether it's, General Motors or BBT or Wells Fargo, whatever it is, have vouchers for kids. Just like, for Yanni's organization, what do you need, Yanni, to take your, your book to the next level? It's actions speak louder than words. We cannot just encourage kids to be great leaders, great, mechanics or whatever it is without giving them the resources that they need to do that.
Thank you so much. And I know that there's still questions in the audience and that there's so much information that we'd love to exchange. And I encourage you to continue this conversation during lunch. I know that at this point everyone's stomach is probably rumbling, and I don't want to keep everyone from lunch, but I do want to thank our panelists today for really taking the time to share their perspective and for giving some very tactical and practical information and how to build up STEM in our communities. And I hope that all of you will leave the panel today and the conference really inspired to become involved in STEM and to promote STEM fields to our community. So let's give our panelists a big hand.
Stay where they're at this point, because we're going to go ahead and give them some token of our appreciation. And then Marifel, we're going to ask you to help us hand them out. And Coach Marifel, this is for you. Thank you very much for moderating. Thank you very much for an excellent panel discussion. And I can remember, right, when I was young, we never did the technology, the robotics, right? All I know is that I have a hypothesis and a conclusion. I have to cut the frog, right? And that's the extent of it. And it's so exciting for Yanni and Amy right now that they are exposed to all this technology. And hopefully, though, we don't take away the human piece of it as we go forward. Because I'm like kind of scared when I look at, watch science fiction, kind of like how the future is going to look. I'm like, But hey, we have to move with the times. But then again, hopefully the human piece of it doesn't go away. All right. So this concludes our morning session of the WAC conference. So we will now head down for the awards luncheon. Then after lunch, we have a leadership workshop for you entitled Closing the